Last time on AlphaCraft. So, I appear to be in a box of obsidian. Hello there, and welcome back to AlphaCraft. I'm deep under the base fighting off the nasty little beasties and generally lighting everything up because, well, you know, Torchman. At the end of episode 1, I found that I'd been pranked by being placed in an obsidian box, and by the end of today's episode, I hope to have come up with some sort of response to that. The people of interest in his prank are the alphas known only as Marky, Sparky, and Generous. Well, they're known only as that because, well, that's their names, you know, but soon they will feel the wrath of a Gragore. Or maybe not so much the wrath, but more along the lines of a practical joke or two, maybe a pie to the face. I don't know, but that's why I'm down here, gathering materials and lighting caves while I think about what it is I can do. I mean, let's face it, this is still only day 4 on the server for me, so I've got a whole lot of nothing to work with at the moment, so, as the saying goes, might as well kill a few stones with some birds while I think. And as crazy as it may sound, I've always found doing an end raid clears the mind for some good old-fashioned thinking. As with everything early game, I try to multitask as I'm going. I really do find end raids to be calming and enjoy doing them, but also, even though the alphas were extremely generous, I don't have any backup gear. Since I'm low on diamonds, raiding the end gives me some pretty good chances at finding diamonds, as well as a lot of diamond armor and tools if I should ever lose my stuff. And of course, there's always the need for more shulkers. All that caving I've been doing would be a lot easier with a few shulkers on hand, so I don't have to keep running back to the surface all the time because my inventory is full. Even better, since I'm entering AlphaCraft mid-season, I can be more focused in my raiding. What I mean is, there's already a shulker shop if I really need them, and this leaves me to just focus on the structures that have treasure chests. If you didn't already know, there are only 3 structures in end cities that have loot. The obvious one is the End Boat, or the Ship of Enders, or the Void Surfer, or the Canoe of the Void. Whatever you choose to call it, this will hold an elytra and 2 chests of loot, as well as the Dragon Head. The second structure that has chests are the large wide towers. At their peak, you will find a little staircase in the roof, very convenient, but if you're in a rush and don't want all the chaos that comes from fighting 4 to 16 shulkers at one time, you can just go to the opposite corner of the roof from the entrance and break through the roof 4 blocks in from the corner. The third structure that has loot are these 3-tiered structures. To know where the chests are, simply find the staircase in and go to the opposite side on the roof. Break through the roof 1 block in from the edge, and right here, you will find an ender chest and some treasure. Now, I always take the ender chest. I mean, you can never have too many of these. If you do it this way, you can slip in and slip out, and the shulkers will never know you were here. But all that said, I'm out here for 2 main reasons. Get me some loot, and to think about pranks. And, you know, I gotta say, I think it worked. While I was out here stealing the shulkers blind, I was also thinking about what shop I could open on AlphaCraft. Since I first started playing on servers, I have been very shop-oriented. I like doing grindy tasks, and I like helping others on the server, and shops are a way to help others while maybe making a few diamonds along the way. What does any of this have to do with pranking? Well, I think the theme for this episode is multitasking. For the first prank, I want to do something that helps me get the first shop up and running. Because I came in mid-season, most of the staple items that you make shops for are already on sale, so I need to find something that I know no one is going to sell, and that also gets me closer to a bit of pranking revenge. What shop did I come up with? Why, goat horns, of course. What else could I be thinking? Now, I can hear some of you out there thinking, Gragore, you're never going to make any diamonds off goat horns. And you know, you may be right. But to that I say, making a shop isn't always about making diamonds. I know, crazy talk! But seriously, I learned a long time ago that the fun of the shop is in the making of the shop. If it makes diamonds, well, that's a happy little bonus. Now, for those of you who are thinking how difficult it is to collect horns from goats, I'm going to show you the trick to getting lots of them with very little effort. It just takes the time to breed the goats up until you have a whole herd of them. And that's why I've been building this wheat farm on top of this mountain, so I can AFK here and grow the wheat I'll need to get the goat army I want. And through the magic of editing, we now have an entire herd of goats, and, if I'm not mistaken, there's even a screaming goat in here somewhere. The screaming goats are important, not only because the screaming goats drop 4 of the 8 possible horns. The main reason we're breeding the goats is to find a bunch of screaming goats, and use them to prank Marky and Generous. Remember the theme, multitasking. So, let's discuss how to get lots of horns with little to no effort. The first thing you need to know is that goats only drop horns when they ram something. You just watch them do that a few times and no horns. Well, the second thing you need to know is that the horns will only drop if they run into certain blocks. No one could blame you for thinking that any old block would be okay, but no. The blocks they ram into must be hard blocks, like stone or packed ice. Now, I haven't fully tested this out, but the wiki says it's stone, packed ice, any logs, and any ore block. But let's just keep it simple. You need stone, not cobblestone, not stone brick. You need stone, plain and simple stone. So, I'm going to make a goat ramming room back here, and make a little pit surrounded only by stone blocks. At the same time, I'm going to keep breeding the goats until I have ridiculous numbers. And in case you were wondering what ridiculous numbers look like that. It looks like that. It's hard to show this ramming pit idea working in action, but let's check my inventory before I walk around the room, and then walk around the room and see how many we find. This was the work of, 30 seconds of standing still in this room. Basically, the trick is, get a ton of goats, drag them over to one side of the room with wheat, and then stand on the other side for a few seconds. They start ramming everything in sight, and suddenly the floor is full of goat horns. Oh, one moment while I handle something important. We now present this relaxing musical interlude while we relocate the hornless goats to a farm far, far away. It appears the movers are now done, and we return you to your video already in progress. Remember that fourth thing, and you can get goat horns as easy as I did. On to the screaming goats. After much time spent sorting out the goats through the magic of moving one goat into a room by himself and listening, I finally have a herd of screaming goats. They are truly musical creatures to listen to, aren't they? And here's a better example of the goat pit idea in action. I just lure them into this room with the wheat, I switch to some other item in my hand, and watch the horns go flying. I kind of touched on it earlier, but the screaming goats drop 4 different horns from the 4 horns that the regular goats drop. Pretty soon I'll have shulkers of goat horns for days. But that's not really why we're here, is it? No, it's not. It's time, my friends, to engage in Project Prank Marky Sparky. And you, my friendly little goats, are the last volunteers to go through the portal. Godspeed. No, why didn't you go through? Wait, why are you back here? You're supposed to go through and stay there, you... Oh, it appears we have some more technical difficulties. We ask that you please be patient with us while we work on this issue, and we will return you to your regularly scheduled video as soon as we sort things out. Not now, Piglet! It appears we may have come back a little too soon. While Gragore sorts out this mess... Oh, he's ready? Okay. We now return you to the video. Thank you for your patience. No. Okay, who thought that meant he was ready? Come on, we're professionals here! I apologize for the mix-up. We will return you to the video when Gragore is ready. So, we're finally here. Not all the goats survived, but, I think we still have enough to prank Marky Sparky. Sadly, he doesn't appear to have a portal at his base, so we're gonna drop the goats off at Ozathoth's base. I really hope I'm saying that right. And then ferry them over to Marky's from there. One silver lining on this trip over to Marky's. At least this works. Why didn't I just bring them the whole way by boat? Ah well, live and learn. By the way, if you haven't watched any of Marky's videos, be sure to check out his channel. He is an amazing builder. Although one thing I learned the hard way, never ever visit Marky's base at night. There are scar levels of mobs all over the place. But all that said, one thing to keep in mind, this is not a base tour. We are here on a mission, and that mission is to hide goats all around his base so that he can't turn around and not hear a screaming goat somewhere nearby. What could go wrong? Why, nothing, of course. It's a perfect plan. And while I place these goats around his base, he kind of has 3 bases, so they're going to be spread out a bit. But while we're doing that, let me just say, this pranking is all in fun. No one has hurt feelings, nothing for anyone to get riled up about, but that said, I must make them both pay for for putting me in a box of rock. Okay, all the goats had been stashed around his bases, and now it's time to see how he reacts. Several days later. Well, I was hoping to grab a bit of footage from Marky's stream to show you what happened, but apparently I waited too long and the footage is gone. So here's what happened. Marky was working on his village, and in fact standing inside one of the houses where I placed a goat, and he didn't even notice. Bunny was watching as well, and she tried to help and even had him check his volume settings, but even though he had mob sounds on, he heard nothing. Well, he heard something, but it was so faint that he didn't even think to explore. So, the prank failed. I thought for a while, and I kept watching his stream, and during that stream, I saw where his storage area was. And so a new plan was formed. Maybe Marky didn't hear one goat hidden underground, but how about 20 of them right under his storage room? And so more goats were needed, and this time we traveled by roof. Project Prank Marky Sparky Phase 2 initiated. All right, my fine little kitties, it's time to get in the hole. Come on, goats. Follow the wheat. You know you want it. Come on. Come on. Come on, guys. The sooner you get in the hole, the sooner I can go home and sleep. Pretty please? And like magic, there they all are, screaming their little heads off just below Marky's feet every time he comes to stock up. Hopefully, he hears this. If he doesn't, well, I don't know. I guess I'll just have to declare defeat, but for now, it's on to Generous. Okay, so with the mess that happened with Marky, some rethinking was done for Generous. If he had the same issues hearing the goats, then all this effort would be for nothing. So I decided to do something different, but in the same vein for Generous. And again, if you haven't been watching his videos, you've been missing out. He's another amazing builder on AlphaCraft, and you should definitely check out his channel. I mean, after you finish watching my video, of course. Finish watching my video, then go check out Generous. Anyway, I had to come up with something new that would be quick and easy to implement. What I came up with was villager bells. Like with the goats, the original idea was to play a prank that is subtle and not so in your face as 20 goats screaming to high heaven below your feet. It was meant to be one of those, what was that? Did I hear something? Type of prank. Something with a slow burn to it. So, how do you prank with a bell? Well, you can do one of those constant clanging machines that's just an over-the-top and done type of prank. You hear it, you deal with it, and 1 minute later, it's as if it never existed. There's no subtlety to it. Or, you can set up some sort of randomized clock setup that rings the bell once every now and then, making it harder to find and bringing that, did I hear something? Aspect to it. And how did I plan on randomizing ringing the bell? Why, chickens, of course. So the idea is, place a pressure plate on the ground at the end of a long tunnel. Hatch a chicken in the tunnel, block it off, and voila, you now have a randomized chicken timer. Every time a chicken wanders over to the pressure plate, the bell rings. It could ring the bell every few seconds, or minutes could go by between rings. It's possibly one of the simplest pranks to set up, which makes all that effort with the goats seem a bit heavy on the effort to reward side. But I regret nothing. Those two will rue the day they ever thought it was okay to prank a Gragore. Or maybe they'll just have a mild chuckle over it. Either way, I will have had my revenge. So anyway, the pranks have been set, and now I have shulkers upon shulkers of goat horns at my base. Whatever will I do with them? Oh yeah, that's right, open a shop. This is Richmart, a sort of mini mall of shops on AlphaCraft. And inside Richmart is this dirt monstrosity posing as a shop. Let's see if we can do something to spruce it up. Or, seeing as jungle is my favorite wood this season, jungle it up. Let me wave my magic wand. And there it is. The goat horn shop in all its glory. It even has goats as shopkeepers. Aren't they cute? And the name of this shop is Gragore's Great and Grating Goat Horns. I always try and squeeze a GGG reference into the name. And if we click on any one of these little goats, you'll see that each one of them sells one of the basic goat horns. The adult goats on the side are the ones that sell the screaming goat horns. The item frames on the side of each post show what horn each of the goats sells and allows customers to play the horns beforehand so they know which horn they're buying. One thing I am especially proud of are all these GGG player heads. One day I realized I could use a player head as a 6-sided die and put G's on all the sides, and use the second layer on the skin as a way to get a shadow effect for the letter. I really like how that turned out. There you go. That's the GGG shop. It sells goat horns. If I make any diamonds on this shop, I'll be surprised, but like I said at the beginning, it's all about multitasking. The main point was the prank, but hey, I got a shop out of it as well. And there is actually a bonus for all AlphaCraft members. Since we use Blazing Caves, if you buy all 8 of the goat horns, Blazing Caves will give you a special 9th goat horn as a trophy. So, win-win. You give me some diamonds, and you get an extra trophy. Who can pass that deal up? Or I suppose you could just grab all the horns off the item frames and get the achievement that way, but that would be cheating. Cheating, I say! Oh, I just noticed that the video is going to be a bit long this week. I usually shoot for a 12 to 15 minute video, and we're easily around the 20-minute mark, so I think we're going to cut it there. I know I promised I would show off the base this week, but that'll have to wait until next time. Next time, I promise. Oh, one moment while I buzz Toasty Puma's base. So yeah, I think we covered a lot this week. I did a lot of N-rating, made a goat farm and a goat horn shop, and managed to prank both Marky and Generous back. What more could you ask for? Hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it. And as always, I have been Gragore, and this has been AlphaCraft. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, always try and find a way to make it fun. See ya!